Wellness Show. What's tonight's episode about, Tristan?
Oh, well, today we're going to be learning this little Temptations dance step. And we're going to be working on some really cool Qigong breathing exercises.
And it's up to you to decide in the chat who wore it best.
Yeah, who wore it best? Got new shoes, and we got new pants. The tops are old news.
Mine's not.
Well, welcome everyone to the Trisbrina Wellness Show. I'm obviously Tristan.
And I'm Sabrina.
And here's what we've got going on today. I thought I would just pop this in for you so you could see that we're going to be diving into the most effective exercises to quickly increase energy and turn off that mind-body stress response. Use this fast-acting breathing method we're going to show you today to help reverse chronic health issues, those ones that are stemming from poor breathing. It's a big deal, folks. And get yourself tapped back into flow state so we can increase performance in all areas of life. And as I was saying earlier, let's raise the consciousness and the energy in this beautiful body temple.
We were having a chat earlier today about how so many people are breathing incorrectly. And it's not like, oh, you should breathe better. It's the damage that we can do when we're not breathing better, creating a more acidic environment. A more acidic environment is going to weaken the immune system. Breathing in a way that tells our brain we're actually almost in a state of panic, right? And just having a complete lack of oxygen in the cells. And we know now more than ever, it's very, very important that the cells are oxygenated so that if the breathing is ever compromised, you have more oxygen than ever. So while you guys are piping in, we also wanted to let you know and say congratulations to those of you who have already registered for our...
What have they registered for? Satori
Qigong Flow Form certification.
That right there.
And we're super excited about this. Maybe the last time we offer it in this particular way. Because of the pandemic, we're doing something very, very special, and we've made it at a price point that everyone should be able to do this if they really want to do it. Because we want to take that deep dive with you and watch you. It is virtual, but we will be able to see you in the Zoom room and make sure that you're doing the moves so that you're the healthiest you can be. And so that when you share it with your friends and family and coworkers or people at church or just out of contribution and charity, you're passing it on in a way where they get the most benefits. And then we're also going to teach you how to turn it into a business if that's something that you want to do, a work from anywhere business, whether you want to share it with people virtually or face-to-face. I'm just going to answer like 3 questions that keep coming in.
Okay, great. Let's do it. So we're going to address a couple of quick questions about this certification program, and then we're going to dive into today's breathing exercises. Okay.
So the question is, how advanced do I need to be to participate? And we keep saying that our favorite people to work with are people who are new to the energy arts, so they don't come with a lot of bad habits. But if you have them, we'll fix them. Don't worry about it. But it's great if you're new, so that from the ground up, we can work with you and really get you those results that you want. Another question is, do I have to take the exam? No, not at all. I looked it up, and it's like 60% of the people who do this do it for their own personal mastery and just to better their own health and help their family. You can still do the exam if you want. It's a group setting. Is there an oral exam? No. Is there written? No. It's just, we just check your form as you go through the curriculum. It's done as a group. You have a full year to take the exam, and you have access to the trainings forever. Do we have dates to offer this in 2022? We do not. We are putting together something else. It's instead of $997, it's $5,000 per person, and we're just going to do a handful of people at a time. So if you prefer that, just send us an email. We may be moving more to that boutique so we can work more hands-on. So if you want our faces on you, our eyeballs on you, right now this is the time to do it. As our company is growing, obviously things will have to change and shift in that way.
And just so you know, we will always make our home study courses available to everybody and to you guys, so you can totally do this stuff on your own. This is just that next level, if you will, of working closer with us and, of course, sharing it in the world. We want to make sure that we're helping to create the best instructors that we possibly can, that are out there doing the best work that they possibly can. And that's just our mission, and we love doing it. And so there's different ways to play. And today, totally free training coming right at you. So shall we talk a little bit about breathing?
Yeah.
Okay. Breathing
Should we do
keeps
the
you
test?
alive. But you can see that not everyone is feeling great energy all the time, and there are poor health conditions that are stemming from poor breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that's right under our nose, literally. Haha. But we are, as a culture, taught to not really focus as much on our breath. You hear people say all the time, well, take a deep breath. Once you relax, chill out. But how many of us are actually going through breathwork training and implementing that training on a regular basis? Now, when we were babies,
It's in Qigong because
For
of
sure.
the standing and moving meditations. So if you're doing Qigong, you are practicing breath work, even if it hasn't been underlined for you as breath work. That is a big part of what you're doing.
breathing is life. We inspire, we draw in energy, we draw in spirit. And when you were a little baby, you were super tapped in to spirit. You just took a dip in the divine. And we like to talk about these spiritual components to all things health and wellness. But you also had a deep diaphragmatic breath. Your diaphragm was working naturally. And so the diaphragm is like a dome-shaped muscle. Think of it almost like an umbrella. And what happens is it pulls down inside here, right? It's just below your lungs. And as it pulls down, it pulls breath into the body. And then as it releases, it helps to push stale air and carbon dioxide out of the body. And unfortunately, because of stress and too many mind and things like that, that diaphragm muscle starts to dampen and it doesn't move properly the way it did when you were a kid. And so that's just from stress. That's from lack of movement. That's from energy disruptions happening, lower chakra stuff going on. It gets compressed and tight. And that beautiful rhythmic pump, it's sometimes called a second heart.
Yeah,
So you
I was
have
just going to say that.
there's a pump in the heart, and there's a pump in the belly.
And then they say that the diaphragm pump is like larger and perhaps the biggest pumping mechanism in the body, even more than the heart. But with what Tristan just said, you can compare it, right? As you get older, the heart muscle may not be pumping as well, may not be moving as well. But are you exercising it? Are you focusing on it? And so that's what we're going to do in this training today. We're actually going to focus on using the muscles that help us to breathe better, which will actually then affect the pumping of the heart.
Yeah, so important to understand what's happening inside of this beautiful body, that diaphragm wants to be brought back online. And so what we'll do today will help to get the diaphragm re-educated, because it's a muscle. And a muscle has signals between the brain and the muscles through the body, right? These they're called proprioceptive feedback loops. They're body-mind communication channels. And so if that channel, mainly the vagus nerve, which is the longest nerve in your body, traveling from the brain down through the diaphragm, that helps to pump it. Well, if there's stress in the body and there's stress in the mind is sending a signal. We just said two-way channel from the brain down through that nerve into this area, and it's saying tighten and shut and be ready to fight. And so when that happens, all of the blood that we need to help take care of this area goes away into the big extremity muscles and into the heart, because we're ready to fight. But then when we stay in that response and we keep sending those signals through that nerve and through neuropeptide release into this area, it shuts down. What do you think that's going to do to your digestion? When you need that blood to innervate all the area of the tissues, well, the digestion's affected. I experienced it in my life with back pain, because the back and all this whole area was so locked down from stress and worry. And the reason I figured it out not long ago, what was happening, is I was doing this hardcore fighting, like this mixed martial arts, like, people would come into the dojo and we'd wear these suits and we would go at it. And I never knew who was going to come in each day to fight. And my brain was dumping so much of these signals of fight, get ready to fight and flight. And that I was putting too much of that signal into my back. And that really compromised my body and my health.
When I used to compete in ballroom dances, ballroom dance competitions, as a professional, they would kind of herd all the couples to one corner of the big dance floor with those velvet dividers. What are they called? The ropings. And then they'd be putting you in order, and they're going to announce you couple by couple, and you have to go out and do your big entrance. And they would herd you early. And I always just was like, just let me go at the last second, because I can think a lot of things when I'm in the herd, and the person in front of me is like Mrs. or Mrs. World Champion, and this one behind me, oh my gosh, look at them.
Stressful.
And I would see some of them like jumping up and down, and doing all these things. And I knew that for me to be at my max, because of my history with getting nervous and being more panic, that I could never be on my game. I could never balance. I wouldn't have the breath control. I wouldn't remember things. I wouldn't be able to connect with the audience if I got into that panic mode. So all these dancers are jumping around, and I'm just doing my slow down. I'm lowering my heart rate. I'm chilling out. And that's what we were saying earlier today too. That's what Navy SEALs have to do. Mm-hmm. Anyone who is like in like a 911 type situation, they have to, in order to be effective, you've got to be in a calm place, because in that calm place, it's almost like things are in slow motion. You see more, you take in more, your intuition is going to go up, and you feel so much more powerful. You're ready to go. When you're breathing in correctly, you might feel all hyped up, but you're not ready to make good decisions, and you're not ready to go in the direction that you need to go, and you're probably not sleeping very good.
That's why that a boxing coach tells the boxer, don't get angry. Like, stay focused, because the moment you get angry, you start feeding the body all of this interrupted signal, and you can't think clearly. And so the boxer starts making bad decisions and bad movements and gets beat up. So you got to stay calm. You got to take care of those emotions, which we were just talking about, the two-way channel of communication between the brain and the body. Well, it works both ways, not just from the brain, but what if the body now is cramping, digestion's off, we've lost the ability to regulate the breathing correctly because of elongated shutdown. Now what happens is we start moving to chest breathing, because this belly pump, that dome-shaped muscle, isn't working correctly. So now the fear signals are in the belly, going back to the brain, saying, hey, you're in alert mode. And then you add that chest breathing, which it messes up the blood pH, and it makes it more acidic, like Sabrina said, because what's happening when you're breathing is there's an exchange between the oxygen you're drawing in and the carbon dioxide that you're releasing. But when you mix that up and you overbreathe, you mess up the pH. So not only does it cause poor health conditions and inflammation, but the signals in the brain say, hey, you're in an aroused state right now. Your belly's telling me you're in an aroused state. Your chest breathing is telling me you're in an aroused state. What's going on? We need to stay in high alert. Now all that life force energy is getting sapped out of you. Chronic fatigue, anybody? Restlessness, trouble sleeping. These are the conditions that happen from not having a simple breathing practice.
And I think these habits, and we'll get right into the exercise in just a minute, they can get embedded early on. Right. Because I think about young kids, really young kids in school, and the teacher may say something to the parent like, she's just been making really bad decisions lately. Something seems a little off. So can you imagine if a kid is maybe being a little bit bullied by another kid, or kicked under the table, or feeling something, and they put themselves in that kind of frightened state, which then becomes defensive, and they're like that all day at school? Well, of course they're making bad decisions. And then you train the body, just like I trained my body to do ballet. You can train your body to be in this aroused state, and then you just carry it into adulthood. And that's why as adults, it's not like, oh, you're messed up. When did you forget to breathe? Well, probably when you were 5.
It started early on. It leads to not only over-breathing, but mouth breathing. So a lot of people, you probably have noticed sometimes, where you're just breathing in and out through your mouth when you're sleeping. Well, it's so important to breathe in through the nose and pull the breath down using that pump correctly. Because when you breathe in through the nose, there's all these wonderful things happening. There's this whole chamber that the breath moves through before it gets into the lungs where it it filters out some of the bad stuff. There's some people saying that when you breathe effectively through your nose produces nitric oxide, and nitric oxide can be used to purify and kill bacteria and viruses. So it's better to breathe through your nose than through your mouth because the nose has the filtration system.
You're making my nose itch.
It warms up the breath so that it gets into the lungs, and a warmer breath is going to be more well received. So, and also when you breathe correctly with the diaphragm and you pull the breath all the way down into the lower lobes of the lungs, because high, short, shallow breathing, chest breathing, it's all just up in here. And again, you're messing up that ratio between the oxygen and carbon dioxide. But when you slow it on down, you can absorb more. She just took a long breath. You breathe less during a minute. You breathe less breaths, so the heart pumps less, so you're not as stressed. You have a more efficient organism, which is just going to simply live longer. You're able to get more oxygen into those lower lobes of the lungs, which have more capillaries, and they have more area to send the oxygen into the bloodstream. You want to get the oxygen down deeper. This is really rich.
And it gets complicated in a beautiful way. Why do you want more oxygen in the blood? Well, let's say you have an injured shoulder, or let's say an Achilles heel, like literally your Achilles heel. That's not a very bloody, meaty part of the body. So it's actually when it's difficult to heal something that doesn't get much blood. But the way that something heals is to get oxygenated blood to it. That's the whole point of trigger point massage, when you press and hold and hold and hold and hold and hold, and then you release so the blood rushes into it. It's the whole theory behind yoga. I'm going to create a tourniquet, create a tourniquet, create a tourniquet, so that when I let it go, oxygenated blood can flush. So this is like a big domino chain. Are we going to do the test together?
I don't think we'll do a test. We can do a test, but what we want to do is create a new habit. And so in order for this to stick and to pass on the health benefits of good breathing and resetting your diaphragmatic breath so that you actually can have good breathing while you're sleeping, we need a habit, which means it becomes automated. The autonomic nervous system now understands it's been recalibrated. So we wanted to bring a little bit of information to you on the front end just to inspire you to have a better understanding of what's going on in the mechanism. And we can go deeper. You can get really into the chemistry on this stuff. You can geek out on hypo and hyperventilation. And I mean, it's really fun to learn about.
The awareness of it, when you do your daily Qigong, you have more awareness of what you were already doing and what you can take to the next level.
Yes. One last thing about the exercise we're about to do that I love is that it includes opening up the chest cavity, which also can help support the breathing because of movement. You see, lungs by themselves can't breathe. You're only going to be breathing because that diaphragm is pulling the breath in, right? And the rib cage is moving and expanding. You have these muscles in here, these intercostal muscles. And unfortunately, between the ages of like 30 and 50, you lose about 15% of that capacity to get the oxygen into your lungs, unless you're doing stuff like yoga and Qigong and stretching and breathing while you're doing it. Then you can even expand the lung capacity you have greater than you have right now. Again, a well-oxygenated, efficient breathing organism is going to live healthier and happier and longer, okay? So that being said, I think you have enough information to realize how important it is to get the diaphragm moving. I will say one last thing about the diaphragm. When you release the breath, and we're going to teach you to pull it in and lift it up a little bit, remember I said it was like a dome or like an umbrella? When it releases really well, it pushes up gently against the lungs and it gets the stale air out better. The more you can get the stale air out, the more space you create for new, fresh oxygen. And we haven't even talked about the life force that's inside of this breath, which is a whole other level, but we will get to that after we get through the basics. So as you're moving that diaphragm, you're not only helping to get that stale air out, but you're gently massaging all the organs around here. And there are other channels in your body, not just blood that goes into the tissues, but there's lymphatic fluid. And so the breathing actually helps to flush your lymphatic. We've talked about this in the past, that one of the only ways to stimulate the lymphatic system is through movement and good breathing. So you're getting your immune system stronger because you have a more efficient lymphatic flow.
Like the tap,
A lot of goodness.
bounce, squeeze, shake, and flow.
Shake, flow, bounce, okay?
That's why we just keep underlining that Qigong is such a great tool. We taught a master class yesterday, and we were saying how there are things that are a complete physical modality, are mainly like martial arts and dance and kickboxing and calisthenics. And then there's over here the healing arts. You sit and do EFT, or you have acupuncture done to you, or Reiki done to you, or you sit and breathe. And Qigong is this beautiful bridge because it does help you expand and adds the movement element to it, which is why you can do it in groups and have everybody benefit rather than just like one client on a table at a time.
It's why we love teaching it to people for themselves, and it's why we love certifying people to teach it, because we want to get it out across the lands, and it's easy to do. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to put the special microphone on.
Oh, I have to get off camera.
Oh, that's true. You got to go bye-byes.
We got matching shoes today. Hold your shoe up. Pretty close, huh?
Almost matching pants. All right.
I used to love to dress like my friend when I was very young. And now, as I'm older, I like it again.
You dress with your best buddy. Me.
That's right.
Am I your best friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hi, everyone. We're so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining for this. This is going to be really wonderful.
Bonnie wants to do the test.
We'll do a breathing test later. It's fun. Well, actually, why don't we go ahead and do it now?
Yay!
Okay.
Is this on?
I haven't turned this mic on yet.
Okay.
It's still on this one.
I have this timer.
Okay, Sabrina wants to do a breathing test. So we're going to do a before and after. And it's very simple. We're just going to take 2 natural breaths, just whatever your breathing capacity is right now.
In a minute, we'll do it together.
Yeah, don't do it just yet. And then we're going to go ahead and start the timer. And we're going to go up to 45 seconds. So we'll let you know in increments of 15. And then we'll say 30.
I'll raise this at 15 and I'll raise this at 30.
And then 45.
From the floor. I'll be laying on the floor waving it.
Well, we're going to take a couple of nice inhales, nice deep. If you've got diaphragmatic breathing in your toolbox, use it. Fill the body with some nice oxygen, just nice and relaxed. Nothing fancy, no pranayamas yet. And then
sit down.
You'll be sitting. Thank you. You're going to breathe out and then just hold. You can hold your nose if you need to, or just stop breathing.
I have to hold my nose or I cheat.
And then we'll let you know, and we'll see kind of where we're at, and then we'll do a recalibration later, okay?
And you're done when it feels like I'm done.
I need a breath.
Right, don't
like...
There's no contest.
I'm gonna try to
We're
get
not
to
giving away a new
40
car.
seconds. Like, no, as soon as you're like, I'd like some breath now.
One breath
breathe
over
in.
here, please.
Just breathe in.
Okay. Yeah, don't make it panicky.
Okay.
What does that say?
Yes, sitting is good. Okay, so again, nice and natural. Allow your body and
this
your
will be
spine to
15
lift
seconds and 30 seconds and 15.
And 45 total.
That's
Okay,
what I
ready?
meant. Yeah.
And breathing in once. Just relax. It is what it is. Breathing out. We're going to do one more. Breathing in. Enjoy the breath. Let it go. Release, and we begin now.
41,
And
45.
good. Now,
Share in the chat.
yeah, what was your
did
number?
did you make it to 15?
It's not uncommon for this to be around 15 or 20 seconds when you're first recalibrating your breath. It's not uncommon. Athletes, people who exercise on a regular basis, are going to see themselves around 30, 40 or so. Trish,
Woo!
awesome, 40s, 15 is average, 30s,
Carol, that's
25s,
good.
we got some
Kate,
40s.
40.
Now,
Dang.
we can absolutely
These are
expand this.
Qigongers.
The other day, mine was 2 minutes after doing some of the pranayama type breathing exercises. So it's the capacity for that oxygen to get into your cells that we're looking for it to be released into the tissues, to get into the cells, to boost the mitochondria's ability to, okay, 45.
Well, I'm so really like thrilled. All of our like people that show up and a lot of our certified instructors are like 45, or people who are doing the energy arts. And
Well, there you
Bonnie,
go.
40, rock on. Wow.
That's
Patricia,
fantastic.
45.
Good
Now,
job.
it's okay if, like Madeline, you said, shucks, it was 15. You probably just didn't oxygenate the cells as much. And this exercise will help you. I bet when you give yourself the test tomorrow, it'll be different. It's just like working a muscle.
It will absolutely be different today because you're going to help your cells to receive more oxygen through the practice. But if you're consistent, then what will happen is you'll become a more efficient breather, and you'll notice your health goes up and your energy goes up and your anxiety levels go down because your body has simply got better energy flow, right? And your sympathetic, when we're talking about the nervous system, that fight or flight or stress nervous system is known as the sympathetic. And so you've got a higher degree of the sympathetic stimulation happening in your system as you start to breathe more effectively. This is why yoga and qigong and meditation arts are so profound for the mind, body, and the spirit. As you start to breathe more efficiently, you're going to shift into parasympathetic and stay there longer. Well, that's just going to help your whole system to be a lot happier and healthier. Your brain is going to be more present. Your energy levels are going to be up. You're going to be in what's known as the rest, digest, ease, and flow state. You're going to be a healthier, happier person. Okay, so it's nice to do the test. Thanks for bringing that, Sabrina.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to switch mics and we're going to practice. This is a lot of fun to do. I'll do a private lesson, a mini private, and then we'll just do a few of them together, and then we'll come back and we'll do a test, okay? All right.
And this is like, can you tell them how this is incorporated into standing meditations?
This is in its own right, a standing meditation. And it is a gentle qigong breathing exercise. This is one of my favorite, and I kind of refined this for myself and our students because I wanted a breathing exercise that would not only stimulate the diaphragmatic muscle and get that oxygen in the body more, but I wanted something that would help the chest to expand. Once I realized that when we get older, and I'm in my 50s, I don't want to lose my chest capacity, my lung capacity. So I wanted an exercise that incorporated an inhale while I was stretching so that we could expand the ribs, keep those muscles, right, those intercostal muscles flexible. And I wanted something that could also be used with Qigong, and I will explain the Qigong part a little bit later. This is the physical part. So Qigong works on the physical body and the energy body, the internal and the energy around. So that's going to come second. So here's how we start. We're just going to be in a natural stance to begin. And soften your knees so there's no tension. Soften your whole body to shake it out for a moment. And taking full awareness into this moment, drop your awareness down into your belly and place your hands here. Now, I get that this is review for some folks who have been practicing diaphragmatic breathing, but I think we can always improve the quality of the movement of this muscle. We can have more conscious control of this muscle. So what I'm doing, my belly button's here. I've got my hands just sitting here. We're not talking about opening energy centers or anything right now. We're just getting into this breath. And remember the diaphragm, the dome shape, it's like a sheet of muscle. As it pulls down, it's pulling the oxygen in. And as it pulls down, the tummy will puff out a little bit to make space for that diaphragm muscle to draw down. So you're going to notice when you have the muscle activated that your tummy will move. And then you'll breathe out. And I want you to help to cleanse and clear stale air out by pushing the muscle in and encouraging it to flatten back down. And also, remember how I said the top of the dome can help to push up against the lungs and purge out the stale air? I want you to draw the muscle in and up, encourage it to come up and push that stale air out. So let's do that again. Breathe in. We're just learning, we're just practicing, and release and scoop up. Now this becomes flat. Do it again. Breathe out, pull your belly button in towards your spine and then a little up. Okay, so you practice, I'll explain a few things. At first, when we're doing this, due to this area being shut down, we might have what's known as sensory motor amnesia. If you've been a chest breather and this hasn't been activated as much, there's a little bit of disconnect between the brain and the body. And so you're asking this muscle to come back online. And sensory motor amnesia is just that. There's a little bit of amnesia. And so when we're bringing what's called proprioceptive feedback, we're pressing, telling the brain, I want you to focus here. I'm placing my attention here. My awareness drops here, and then I can bring that muscle back online. It might shake a little, and there may be a little bit of jitters. That's the nervous system recalibrating. So over time, what will happen is it will get smooth again. So that just requires practice. Now, here are some things to notice for. Slow the breath down. Elongate it. So remember, we're breathing in through the nose. We're purifying that air, we're filtering it, we're warming it up, we're pulling it in, and the diaphragm saying, all right, let me pull lots of oxygen in. We're slowing brain waves down. It's expanding, and then we're not going to get that Buddha belly because we're using the muscle, drawing in and slightly up. The dome purges. Now start to bring the sound. Breathe in through the nose. Listen, out the mouth. That's getting all that stale air out, becoming more efficient breather. Now notice that you can probably drop into the diaphragm, drop it in deeper. Oh, we're getting more oxygen. That means your breaths will not only slow down, but the phase of breath will get longer. You'll be taking less breaths every minute. Keep going, sit down if you need to. As this is moving, it's toning, it's massaging that long nerve that runs down both sides of the spine through the diaphragm. The vagus nerve is being toned, it's being stimulated to send new signals. Remember we said it's bidirectional. The mind can affect the body, the body can affect the mind. The body is saying, hey brain, all is good. We're not in fight or flight. No need for peaking arousal. You can chill. You can relax. And all that blood now that gets trapped and blocked in the outer starts to come in. And the digestion improves. The back improves. The organs get fresh oxygen and blood. Okay, you got that? That's phase one. Diaphragmatic breath with the pump working, pushing gently up against the lungs. Phase two. Now, we're going to marry these together in a little bit. Right now, I just want you to reach up with your arms and open your chest, and as you do it, breathe in. Now, you're probably noticing now the ribs and the muscles are helping the lungs to pump the breath, right? And then just let your arms float down. So this is another type of breathing mechanism. Breathe in and up and out. I tell you, your oxygen capacity has already increased big time. If you did the exercise, the test again, it would already be better. See how we're slowing the breath down with the body moving with the arms. Okay, good. That's going to be actually the third part of this exercise. So the first is we're going to breathe in here, but we're now going to add some of the Qigong component. We're going to help the energy of what's called the power center to expand. So rather than keeping the hands on the physical body, we're going to breathe and let the hands float into the auric field. And you will feel like not only are you getting more breath, you're bringing chi, fresh energy. Now you're going to breathe out and you're going to do the mechanical scoop, but you're going to lift up. Can you see what that's telling your brain is? Clear the way. Drop them back down. Breathe out. Release. When I said breathe out, I'm sorry, I meant fill the breath. Breathe out. Get it all out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. Now, there's a little piece in between this breathing up here and this breathing here that we have to add, and that is a vacuum. So the Taoists call this reverse breathing, where they're not using the belly pump here, they're actually using the chest to fill the breath, and they're using their mental awareness to take this chi that we just built and pull it up the spine all the way into the brain. So you're liberating this energy from down below and you're pulling it up with intention and breath to here. Now I'm combining that with this exercise of going here and then up to here above the head. A little bit different than you've probably seen before. It's one of my favorite breathing combinations. So let's look at the vacuum now. As you breathe out and soften and scoop, you will then, I'm going to use the word lock, like a vacuum, you have to lock it in place. You're going to keep this, and you're not going to use this muscle now to do the next breath. You're going to use those chest muscles. So you keep this locked, and what you'll feel is this incredible rush of energy come up the body. And you can pull it up. Where your attention goes, the energy flows. So let's do the whole thing one time, see if you've got it. Breathe in down here, diaphragmatic breath. Release the breath, scoop out and up. Feel like we just placed a lock here. Keep this flat. Breathe in and up on the second breath. Feel it rise up. This is flat, relax. Now down, exhale. Diaphragmatic breath. Power breath. Release. Put the vacuum in play. Up. Down. Let's try it without talking. We're going to do one more, and Sabrina's going to get our test ready. You might want to sit down.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Fill, fill, fill. Get ready. We're going to breathe out. We're going to start the clock and sit down. The clock begins now.
25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 51, 56, 57.
58, 59. Okay. Now,
You need to switch the mic.
we're gonna switch. Some of you are still probably holding. That's great. It's not about how long.
I'd love to know though in the
how
chat.
you feel.
Was it different?
Is what's most important. Like, how does your energy, your focus feel? And then, yes, it's great when your oxygen capacity goes up. Wonderful. There are other techniques, breathing quickly, deeply, that can take you really, really far into being able to not breathe for long periods of time, and they're great. And maybe we'll get into some of those in a future episode. That's not the main reason for this breathing. This breathing is to teach you to breathe correctly. And
it may be that if you're not, there was physical movement involved. And so that may be affecting, like maybe your heart rate got up because of that, and trying to listen and trying to pay attention. So many little things can affect the score.
Well, we were also learning, and we are activating our brain to do all this stuff. So I wouldn't worry too much. I'd love to know your numbers, though. Did they go up? That would be really cool to know. How do you feel from 30 to 34?
Oh, Madeline doubled hers.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
Trish made it to 50.
That's fantastic.
From 30 to 34. That's great, Amy.
That's wonderful. From 20 to
51. Gail.
Gail, you over doubled your breath capacity.
And somebody was saying that their score was lower than they would like. And they said, no wonder. I don't know if that was you, Gail. No wonder I feel tired. Because when you're not breathing, you will feel tired.
Carol's 40 and I feel clear. 45, which is awesome because I have asthma. And this week, which I haven't had in 2 years.
Wow, Doug's at 40. Okay, wow.
At 40 now, Doug, that's great. Not dizzy at all this time, says Kate. 30, definitely lighter, but do feel happy. Good. Well, it should affect your mood from 25 to 50. Stu doubled his breath capacity.
Wow.
Okay.
You guys, I'm like really impressed.
So it's in the art, meaning that you're practicing correctly. You could create some stress, forcing breath. Mm-hmm. Stretching muscles. And so I wouldn't judge right away what it looks like. I would keep practicing and monitor, because maybe you were opening stuff up and stretching things that you haven't stretched in a while. And that could cause you, like you're figuring it out. You're learning how to do the moves. But we're already seeing massive improvement here. But I want to just speak to those of us who sometimes, there's a bit of a learning curve. And so don't judge the process is the point. Practice the process. So just step one, deep, nice belly breathing. Get that dome working for you. Then get the ribs stretching and opening. Get this moving again. Get that nice chest movement. Use conscious awareness to pull the breath down in the belly. And then put the vacuum in place and do the second part. Now, I told you I would teach you a little thing about Qigong at the end once we got the basics down. This is how you do it. It's really cool. Don't worry about breath capacity. Work on energy and consciousness now. So here's what you do. Super simple. You can do this sitting. Breathe in.
It's like a standing meditation from the flow form.
It's actually the same thing we just did.
Okay.
You breathe in here. Scoop out. Lift up. Breathe up. Got that? On this part right here, what you're going to do is you're going to pull the perineum, the bottom of the body, just in a little bit. You're just going to squeeze a little. And as that breath goes up, I want you to envision the energy's going up your spine into your brain. So when your hands come from here, you're going to squeeze underneath and pull all that breath up into your brain.
Do you squeeze your butt muscles too?
Not really the butt muscles, more the internal, the sphincter area. You pull it in and lightly
like you
up.
might have flatulence and you're like, not the right place.
Not right place. It's like a Kegel. It pulls in and up. And what it does, we call it rocket around here. It just helps that energy to go up. I'm not going to do a deep dive on this, so try it. Release. Scoop up. Now squeeze and lift. And pull the chi up into your brain. Now calm down. Try again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Scoop the tummy. Squeeze, lift. And down. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel this rush of energy goes up into my brain. I get kind of giddy. If you know about the tongue, the tip of the tongue behind the two front teeth on the hard palate, you can put it there as you pull it up. It'll light your brain up, people.
Talk them through it one more time.
Breathe into the tummy.
So your tummy goes out, right?
Yep, this is the same thing we did standing. Breathe out. Now we're just adding the energy component.
So pull the tummy in.
Shut the vacuum. Reverse breath here. Squeeze, lift. Pull the chi up into the brain all the way to the top of the head. And then let the breath and energy float down the front.
So is there a slight holding of the breath at the top?
It's like when you throw a ball up in the air and it's going up, 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 up. There's a moment before it descends and drops back down. Throw it up.
So even though you're squeezing the Kegel and the belly is in, you're still inhaling.
And then release it on the exhale. Release that on the exhale. Up.
What do you
down.
call that?
Well, this whole breathing practice it's just unique to the way we do it. But the upper breathing is called reverse breathing or Taoist breathing. The bottom breathing is belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. The pulling the chi up the spine, a type of pranayama we call rocket. So this is a combination, because that's what we do, is we aggregate what we think works well together. And so this is unique in that it's infusing the power center with energy, is pulling chi up through the heart center and then lighting up the brain. So it's getting all three energy centers.
Ooh.
It's taking care of
Feel it in my brain.
your diaphragm. It's taking care of your ribs and chest.
Two questions people may have.
Yeah.
On the very last breath, because you went in he expanded the diaphragm going into the nose, and he pulled it in and up, allowing the breath to come out of the mouth.
Right.
Then when you inhaled through your nose. When you exhaled floating down, did you bleed it off in the mouth or the nose? Or either one?
Well, I typically, when I'm doing this, when I get really high like that and I just want to stay yin and subtle, I will breathe out through my third eye.
Oh, he's giving me a unicorn answer.
Because I want to now take that breath and that nitric oxide and I want to send that up into this area and with gentle friction stimulate so I can open the brain up even more.
Yeah.
So that's how, there's many layers to things, and that's why it's a deep, beautiful art. You can absolutely breathe in here.
That's why you should join us for the mastery.
You really, if you want to get into this stuff even more, this is what happens inside of our certifications and energy mastery courses. This is general public right now. And so even teaching the rocket is a little bit like, I probably should stop now, because when people start unlocking that chi and stuff starts happening, they're going to have questions, and it's better that they're in our classes to answer those. Cool? Great. Yes, it definitely can help activate the pineal gland.
I like at the top this non-breath that feels so full of breath. It's such a tingling high. Wouldn't it be great if instead of we say to somebody, "Hey, you want to go out for a drink?" you could say, "Hey, you want to go out for a breath?"
You want to go out for a breath?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I think the inclination that I've shared before, sometimes with people who smoke something, smoke a cigarette, is, the inclination is good. Breathing in, breathing out, and being present, watching the smoke. Like all of that's good. Just get rid of the cigarette.
Yes, and Mula Bandha, for sure. Using that pranayama technique to pull that chi up, that kundalini up the spine, light up the brain, fill up the third eye, as we call in Qigong the yin tong. And there's lots of beautiful, magical things. And I love that you are combining this with ancient practices. Yeah, so that's kind of our jam. We met in yoga class, meditation training years ago, well over 30 years ago, just doing pranayama and that type of life force
And we
work.
look the same.
Similar. We feel good. We're much happier and lighter about life, and all this integrating beautifully. But that was a very yogic path we were on.
Yeah.
And then we already love biology and science,
Both
and
of us.
physics of movement. And so we've just dedicated the last 30 years to trying to marry that all together with the chemistry and the new research that's coming out.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing teachers on the planet right now.
I do want to say that, our home study courses, if you have one, because some people were emailing me today saying I bought the resilience kit, which is a kit that contains the flow form and the art of Mushin meditation and happy, healthy back. And I'm like, that's good. Those programs don't need any more information. They are filled up. But when we do something like the certification mastery program, where we add deeper levels, we go deeper, and we actually are there with you to answer not only your questions, but to find specific modifications for what you may need with your body.
I love this woman so much.
I wanted to say the orientation is like early next week, so TikTok as far as getting registered. But I don't want you to have shallow breath and panic thinking you're not going to be ready for the first live class. We don't start the live sessions until October, and they're usually on the weekends, and they're always on the weekends, and they're midday on the weekends. Right now, half the people who have registered are outside of the United States. And that we think that's so cool. So if we do something at 1:00 here, then it's usually 6 or 7 in London. It's 11 in California, and that seems to work. Sometimes the New Zealand people or the Australian people, they gotta get up a little early, but it's just 5 times. Everything will be okay.
There you go. So, dear friends, I'm reading the most amazing things and the feedback. So,
can you copy that chat? I'd love to see it later.
Sure. This stuff works if you work with it. And it's a well worth endeavor to practice a little bit every day.
Worthwhile.
Worthwhile endeavor. Thank you. And I love that you guys come here and you learn and you practice and you share with us. And I saw Dorch, she says I do Wim Hof breathing. Amazing stuff like Tumo, right? And but I never felt the chi going up. And so there you go. We can learn from so many different sources, things that are aligned. Wim stuff's awesome. So, dear friends, practice, enjoy. And at the end of the day, we want to be healthy, but we also want to be really happy. And so jot that link down, go and check it out, get registered. I think there's like 3 days left to join. SatoriMethod.com/certification. And regarding the happy part, when you're healthy, it's much easier to be happy.
Oh yeah.
And when you're happy, it's much easier to be healthy, right? Because you want to practice, your chemistry is better. And I don't know, man, like I just want to experience more joy. And those two are everything.
That's what I said to you on our walk the other morning.
Breathing, the moving, the flowing, the choosing love, choosing to be happy.
Yep.
you know, we got this, man.
Mm-hmm.
We can do this together.
Yep.
All right.
I always ask for like a message or an inspiration or an idea as I'm going to sleep. And then I'm kind of present to what I'm thinking about during the night, because I know those thoughts are very intuitive. And this word kept coming up, and I'm going to share it. Nobody steal it because I haven't got the URL yet.
Uh-oh.
But all last night it was love strong, love strong, love strong. That just kept being in there, and it was about loving powerfully, like be somebody who loves strong, but then it was also about being strong in the body, loving yourself so much that you love and you have strong and you have strength. And I just that's been on my mind all day today. Like I want a t-shirt that says love strong.
All right, let's make them. We got a lot of back-ordered t-shirts in our brain. There's so many t-shirts we want to make.
Yeah, isn't that great, Diana? It just there's so many, it means so many different things. I like it.
Yeah, strong love. Love strong. All right. Thank you, everybody. Dance party. You can teach me that step now.
Okay.
Since I didn't get it before. And I feel really bad about it.
You're gonna do the first one that you didn't
Yeah,
get?
the one I could. This happens every Saturday, by the way. So I have to learn the step, and I'm not very good at it.
Okay, here you go. Step, tap, step, tap. Now just walk. 5, 6, 7, 8. You repeat. Step, tap, step, tap. 5, 6, 7.
Why didn't you just say
8.
that?
Here you go. Step, tap, tap. 5, 6, 7, 8. Now look where you came from. 5, 6, 7, 8. Look over here. Look over here.
All right. Guess they can learn new things. Hope you got that. Until
I
next
think that's
time.
great. You gave them a test and then he had a test.
It's only fair.